Welcome to the Arun Church podcast, where our mission is bringing life to everyone, everywhere, every day. Each podcast episode features the latest talk from our church, which are released weekly. We're passionate about Jesus, love to worship together, and are committed to changing our community for the better. Connect with us at arunchurch.com. I'd really love to welcome Kieran and Hayleigh to the stage. Everybody, let's give them a round of applause, shall we? This is Kieran and Hayleigh. They're actually getting married in, 2 weeks' time? Just about a week and a half's time. So there's a microphone just there for you. So this is Kieran and Hayleigh, if you haven't met them ever before. How long have you been coming to church here?
Since not last September, the September before.
Right, brilliant. And how long have you been engaged for now?
A year and a half.
A year and a half.
Yeah.
And so you're getting married on the 30th, aren't you?
Yeah.
Of this month. So it's going to be good. But I thought, wouldn't it be great just to get to know Kieran and Hayleigh a little bit more if you don't know them. And so I just said, I've just got two questions for you. One is, just tell us about you, tell us about your lives, tell us about who you are, anything you want to tell us those things. And then after that, we're just going to, I'm asking you what you didn't learn at school that has been really important. But who wants to go first then? Hayleigh, do you want to go first?
I think he chose that seat wisely.
Yeah.
Yeah, strategically.
Good. Yeah.
So
tell us a little bit about you then, Hayleigh.
So I'm Hayleigh and I'm Kieran's entourage when he sings. And I wasn't born down on the coast. I was born in London, and I grew up there for the first 8 or 9 years of my life, and then me, my mum and my brother moved down to the coast, down to Worthing after that. I didn't mind school, actually. I enjoyed school, which is quite a rare thing to say, I guess. It wasn't all fun and games, but I didn't do too badly. What else? I don't know. I guess I'm not that interesting. I work in a school. I work doing an after-school club and holiday club for kids, which is good, same as Kieran. And I enjoy my job. Yeah, there's definitely parts of my job I don't enjoy, I guess like everyone. But I really love working with children and not being a teacher, because I can be that bit outside of having to do all the strict kind of stuff, so I can just come in and have fun with them, which is a real blessing. And I get to pray for them as well. I think there's a lot of teachers here actually, and I would say that almost everyone would agree in being a Christian in a school is quite a special thing, because you get to come and bring another element, and I think most people see that. They probably don't know what it is, but I think they can tell, and you can kind of seek other Christians out, and you kind of have that look where you're like, yeah, I know, you know more. So, yeah, that's a bit about me.
And how did you become a Christian?
I don't know. I think it was a slow burning thing for me. My mum always went to church, from what I can remember, but we went to this weird culty thing in London. It was awful. Everyone had to wear white. It was weird. It was really weird, but I think I've always had that relationship with God. I think as a child, you just feel that connection with things outside of yourself. But I think as you grow up, that becomes difficult to maintain, because so much other stuff gets in the way. But luckily I had all my friends were Christian. I had a big hand in the church that I was going to when we moved here, and that kind of kept me going. So I got baptized when I was 13. But I think my connection with God grew all through my teenage years, which I'm really pleased that it did, because my life could have been completely different if it didn't. Yeah.
Do you think it's made a difference in your life then, knowing God? What sort of difference do you feel it's made?
Oh, 100%. Like, I think about this quite regularly, actually. Like, it must be so difficult to only depend on yourself, like, all the time. Like, oh, I've had a hard day. Like, people go home to their flats or whatever, where they live by themselves, and then that's it. They just sit with that. And it's like, that would be so hard. That'd be so difficult, always having the pressure of the world, like, on your back all the time. So, like, when I was growing up, like, especially through my teenage years, to know that I could be like, oh, God, like, I found that really hard, or, like, God, help me with this test, or, like, I don't know, help that boy like me, all kinds of stuff. You just bring this stuff to him. Like, you do, though, like, you do. And it just made my life much better. It made my quality of life much better. Like, I feel like both me and Kieran have, like, I'm 26, Kieran is 28, and I feel like we've lived quite a lot of life for our age so far, like, separately and together. But, like, God has got me through that. And, like, if you want to know more about that, like, come and ask me after. But, like, God actually makes a difference. And I think, yeah, that's an important thing to know. Like, he does make a difference, and he made a difference to my life so far. And I'm very, very grateful for it. Yeah.
It's amazing. And you dance, don't you? Tell us a little bit about that.
I do. I don't talk about it often, just because I think when you say that to people, it makes them kind of go like, oh, okay, so you're going to judge me then if, like, we go out? And it's like, no, like, I think everybody can dance. Like, I know there's a few people out there like, okay, you haven't seen me, like, but I really do. I really, really do. I feel like it's a God-given gift that maybe different people have more or less of, but it's a very spiritual thing, like singing. Like, I don't sing on stage because I'm not that quality. But I sing anyway. And I think that God appreciates it when we give him these things, like, in a different way than words. So yeah, I love dance. I trained in London for a little bit with a dance company for a few months, a couple years ago now, before COVID, and I loved it. So yeah, I love dance, and I think it's very important. Yeah.
That's brilliant. How about you, Kieran? Tell us a little bit about you.
So I grew up in church in Worthing, so very close, and I was going to tell you my life story now, but yeah, roughly along those lines. Grew up in church, in school. Yeah, school was kind of just that thing that you had to go to, and sometimes I guess church became that as well, because it was just what we did, so I was just used to it, whether I fancied going, whether I thought it'd be more fun to stay at home on my own. Then I did that sometimes when I was old enough to do that, but yeah, grew up and did lots of church stuff along the way. I do after school clubs and holiday clubs like Hayleigh. Just about to change and do some science stuff, even though I'm not a sciencey guy, but that's okay. I can do the childcare bit, so that's good. We'll be all right. So yeah, doing that. Yeah, we got engaged a year and a half ago, and we met years and years and years ago when Hayleigh first moved down. In Worthing. I was going to say that she loved me the first time she saw me, but that was completely different. That's not what happened. She used to come around my house when we were really young, and I had like an Action Man tent and a Game Boy, and she would just come and sit in the tent, but I wouldn't share the Game Boy. So she would just sit there and watch me and be like, well, this is really fun. And I was like, yeah, I'm having a great time. But I've learned to share over the years, so so there's less of that.
That's good,
but,
good. I'm glad you've learned to share.
Yeah. But yeah, I love worship, so you've seen me do that. That's something I've loved to do for a really, really long time, so it's nice to do it in a great environment.
And how did you meet God?
I met God in a classic Sunday school setting. So when I was in church, I kind of just started to listen like you would in school, that kind of thing. You hear it, and then suddenly you kind of start to listen and take it on for yourself. That was when I met God, but really changing for me was then when I got a bit older And I kind of then was like, okay, I feel like I need a bit more than just knowing that you're out there, or knowing that, okay, yeah, I'm a Christian, but what does it actually mean for like the relationship side of things? And then that's grown massively over time. There's been such a big thing for me is in growing that it's actually a relationship. It's not just a thing that I do from 9 till 12 on a Sunday.
And worship's been important for you. Why is that?
I just feel like when we do that, there's nothing else in between. It just clears the gap. It clears the gap, and I've learned more recently about like worship in like warfare, or like when you're not really feeling like it. I think I used to do it a lot when it was all my favourite songs, and then I would just stand a bit more quiet when it wasn't my favourite songs. But that tends to change when you realise the words that you're singing, when it's then straight out of scripture, and then there's nothing between you and God, and it's not just worshipping when it's really fun and when you're about to get married and you're having a great fun time. It's when you're trying to get to that point and it's really heavy and you're like, okay, let me try fighting now, so then when we've got it and it's all great, we're like, yeah, we stuck it out when it was hard.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And what thing would you that you didn't learn at school then would you most like to communicate to us here today?
Yeah, I think for me it's like I think it's the relationship thing, and we were actually talking about The Shack, the film, that yesterday, and yeah, it's very, very good. I thought it was, when I was growing up, I thought it was like a lady's book, so I didn't want anything to do with it. I was like, no, I'm a guy, it's okay. But I found out it's not that, and the film really changed it for me because I don't read that much. So then when I saw the film and seen it visually, and seen Jesus as like a guy who's like the same age as me roughly, as a friend, I was like, okay, that changes quite a lot. So I think that's what I didn't learn at school, was that it's not just you're a Christian or you're not a Christian. It's like you have a relationship with people, and that person is Jesus, that person is God, and even then that person is the Holy Spirit, which is a whole other thing to learn as well.
That's brilliant. And how about you, Hayleigh? What did you learn, what have you not learned at school that you have learned in your life?
I thought about this question because Becca let us know what questions she was asking us beforehand. And I would say like the majority, if not everything that I take into my day-to-day are things that I did not learn in school. So that's one answer. But I think like the power of the simple things in life, like things like listening to people, like and we said this when we first got into relationship, like I was a bit like going at Kieran because I was like, are you good enough? But anyway, but like we were talking like about the difference between like hearing someone and like listening to someone. Like you can hear words all the time, like we're bombarded all the time, aren't we? Like adverts, everything, all the time. And you can almost like glaze over. Like I do it all the time, especially when you're tired. Like you just kind of like, I don't know, you're not there anymore. But like to like listen to someone, to like hear through the words of what someone is saying. Like when someone comes in and you're like, oh, how was your day? And they were like, yeah. Instead of just hearing like, yeah, like be like, okay. They don't normally answer like that. They wouldn't normally say that, like, what's wrong? Like, just ask, like, and then listen to the answer. And like, that's something that I'm really working on, like for myself and for our marriage and like for my relationship with my friends, is to like listen when someone is talking to me, like listen to the answer, like give them space, like don't just wait for the first gap when they're talking to just be like jump in and be like, oh well, I think you should do this. Like, no, keep it to yourself and just give them space to just talk. And I think the Holy Spirit comes in many ways, but I think when you leave gaps, it allows for just something like just more. Like it just allows for something a little bit more to just like get in there, like where words can't meet, where actions can't go, like the silence, the gap, the patience, the time that you give people can get to like, do you know what I mean? Like WD-40, it gets to all those areas. Like, I don't know how, but that's my experience from that. So I think I've learned like to really like work on those simple things in my interactions with people. And I think that often like that's how people like know I'm a Christian. Like people just, I don't know if other people get that. You just get people that are like, oh, like, are you a Christian? Like randomly, like in random moments, and you're like, how did you know that? But I think it's because we work on like those listening skills. We work on those like, you know, being honest with people, like smiling to people, saying thank you to people, like looking at people, like actual like eye contact, like all of that kind of stuff, I think can really change people's lives. And I think if it changes like a community, if it changes a town, if it changes like West Sussex, if it can like change the world, and we want to change the world. Like as a Christian, like my heart, like it breaks for the world that we have right now. Like it's so messed up, and it feels really difficult to like go and be like, okay, like the government needs to do this, like, oh, he needs to do that, all that kind of stuff. But like, why don't we try changing like our world? Like if I can change this world, and I can change my world with my parents, and I can change my church, and we can change Littlehampton, like that's how it grows. And I think it really can grow in those simple things of like just caring for people, like Norman, like saying, like sharing advice, like all of that kind of thing, you know, like not being selfish, like hearing people, all that kind of stuff. Like, so that's what I think I've learned most from not being in school, is that it can be the really simple things that can really change the course of your life and the quality of your life as well. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. It's great to speak to them, isn't it, and get to know them. Well, we're wishing you everything good for the wedding and for your marriage ahead. So thank you so much. That's brilliant. Let's give them a round of applause, shall we?